My mom keeps trying to relive the wedding she never had through mine, so I told her to find a groom of her own instead of hijacking my special day, and now my family thinks I'm heartless. I, 32F, recently started planning my wedding with my fiancé, 31F, and my mom immediately jumped in to help us plan. I thought at first it'd be okay, but she will call vendors and venues she likes, give them my information so they call me about a scheduled time, and then swoop in to say, it'd be rude not to go since they invited you. It became obvious it was her after the third time, when she wouldn't stop giggling and admitted to calling beforehand and making the appointments. I wouldn't take issue with this, but my mom and I have wildly different tastes. Every time my fiancé or I tell her something, like how we want to have this color for the tablecloths or these flowers, she'll tell us they look bad and present her own plan. She recently showed us a massive binder of different ideas she wants us to look through. It's exhausting. At every step, she insists on showing us her ideas, and when we reject them, she throws a fit and tells me I don't love her because I ignore all her wishes. I also want to add that I think she's had it in her head since I was a kid that she would plan my wedding. Even before I came out and dated men, she would comment on how excited she was for the wedding. When I told her my fiancé proposed, she immediately started berating me about when we'd have the wedding so she could help us plan it. Part of it is that when she married my dad, it was a small courthouse affair because she was pregnant with me at the time and never got a proper wedding. My dad also died 17 years ago, and she dates sporadically but never for longer than a few months. The last time my fiancé and I went to see a venue, she tagged along and made all these comments about how gross everything was, pointing out all the tiny things wrong with it. The person showing us was getting annoyed, my fiancé was getting annoyed, and so was I. She eventually said, if this were my wedding, I'd never even consider this dump, despite it being absolutely beautiful and within budget. I snapped and told her that if she wanted to plan a wedding so badly, she should get remarried. It was cruel, but I was so tired of her trying to have her perfect wedding through me. My fiancé thinks I'm not at fault, but the rest of my family doesn't. Edit. Adding answers to a couple of common questions. Is she paying for the wedding? No, she's not paying a penny. Why don't you set boundaries with her? We have. She doesn't listen and will cry and guilt me and my fiancé until we go along with her or look at what she's picked out for us. Top/relevant comments. Commenter. Put her on a very strict info diet, and set up passwords with all your vendors so that she can't call pretending to be you. Commenter 2. Here's the thing, you can set boundaries, but it's not really up to the other person to respect them. They are going to try to push or stomp all over them, that's why you needed to set them in the first place. It is up to you to hold the boundary. You're caving, that's on you, not your boundary stomping mom. You can only change yourself. Stop caving, practice responses with your partner, and end calls or walk away whenever she starts crying or guilting you. Train her like a dog. Do not give her reinforcement or coddle her. Walk away, every time. Update 17 days later. Hello everyone, I took all of the advice to heart, and my fiancé and I had a sit down and looked at the comments together. We agreed that we both need to grow spines. Our wedding planner is truly a saint and had no problem setting up passwords with vendors, as some people suggested, and it was a great suggestion, so thank you. We then invited my mom to dinner and told her that she has to stop trying to help us with the wedding. It started off badly, as she brought her binder and had her own wedding dress in her car. Her dress is in very bad condition, would not fit either me or my fiancé, and is, quite frankly, hideous. I would never say that to her face, though I've told her every time she's asked that I want to pick out my own dress, and that she should keep hers in case she wants to get remarried. She assumed that we had invited her to apologize and let her plan the wedding however she wanted. How she jumped to that conclusion, I have no idea. We lied about not wanting her to get overly stressed, in the hope she'd take it better than telling her that she's been causing problems and hasn't been helpful. She didn't take it well and started crying, saying all she ever wanted was for me to have the perfect wedding, and that she'd already given up on getting the perfect son-in-law and grandchildren, so the least we could do was let her plan the wedding. It stunned us both, as she has never said a bad word about me liking women, not when I came out, not when I got my first girlfriend, not when my fiancé and I got engaged. That put me over the edge, and I told her that she wasn't going to plan anything, she was a guest and nothing more, and I would be cutting her speech if she was going to behave like a child. She had a full-on tantrum, so my fiancé and I paid and left her to cry and scream in the restaurant. That was all fine and dandy until our florist called to tell us my mom had called to try and get the flower arrangements changed behind our back. I called her, and she tried to lie until she realized she was backed into a corner and admitted to doing it because she knew what was best and was trying to help. Needless to say, I've now uninvited her from the wedding with the full support of my fiancé and my soon-to-be mother-in-law and father-in-law. Top/relevant comments. Commenter. I have to echo the comment about having security at the wedding. This sounds like a potential gatecrasher if ever there was one. If it helps at all, I think you and your fiancé handled this like true pros. You reached out, got advice, and put it into effect in a fair, reasonable way. Your mom's reaction is not your fault. I physically cringed at that I gave up the perfect son-in-law and grandchildren thing, and you handled that perfectly, too. If she wants to make vile, hateful comments and whip up a circus in public, which is a pressure tactic people use when desperate to force their will on someone, the right thing to do is simply refuse to participate in her games. Thumbs up to you. But to be realistic, I doubt this is over since she tried again to meddle with the florist. That goes back to having security at the wedding. The conversation at dinner did not get through to her, and since she continued trying to meddle and is willing to make a scene in public, you do have to be ready for the chance she crashes the wedding to start screaming at the gates to be let in. Luckily, it sounds like you've got a strong network in place, so I know you can handle any further stunts. Congratulations on your upcoming marriage. Second update 3 months later. I'm so done, just so done with her. 3 months of hell, but finally, my wife and I are happily married. Not once did my mom think of me and what I wanted. She wouldn't stop trying to call vendors, get things changed, and try to guess the passwords. At one point, we changed the passwords every week to random things so that she couldn't guess them. We didn't post the date anywhere and had on the invitations that guests couldn't share the date and location, yet somehow she got both. We even told her that the stress was too much and that we were going to wait until the summer or later to get married, and she screamed at us, telling us that we were horrible and canceling it to spite her. We blocked her phone number and reduced the wedding budget significantly so we could hire good security. Thank effing God we did and gave them pictures of her, because somehow she found out the date, time, and location, and came in her mother-effing wedding dress, demanding to be let in because it was her wedding. I am beyond done. I'm typing this as my wife and I are waiting to get on our plane to go home after an incredible honeymoon. We even looked at job openings and apartments that are at least 6 hours away from where we currently live because my loving mother has taken to sending us letters calling me a horrible daughter, along with packages full of pictures from when I was a kid and loved her unconditionally, with notes asking why I outlove her anymore and why I banned her from her wedding, how excited she was for it, how it was her right as my mom to go. She tried to guilt me, she cursed me out, and what? Thought I'd give up, let her do whatever she wants, and run my life for me? And she acts as if she hasn't been a pain in my rear since I told her that my wife and I were beginning to plan the wedding. My best friend, who was house-sitting, got the honor of opening all the letters and sending us the contents. She hand-delivered the first one the day after the wedding while we were on the plane. I know because the Ring doorbell caught it, as well as all the other ones she delivered, along with the ones the mailman brought. I'm fuming, I'm pissed, and I want to scream because what the F? She tried to ruin my wedding. My own mother tried to ruin my wedding and is trying to make me feel bad. She tried to plan my wedding for me, threw a tantrum when I asked her not to, tried to sabotage it, and then crashed it. But sure, I'm the problem here. Top/relevant comments. Commenter. Match a state to a guest and tell them you are moving there. When mother comes back saying she knows where you're moving, you have your leaker. Ops response. We're considering doing something like that. Part of replanning the wedding was figuring out who wouldn't tell her about the wedding, so very few family members on my side and friends who know about all the chaos she's caused were informed. But someone still told, so we'll be finding out who and cutting them out of our lives along with my mom. Third update 1 month 3 weeks later. Context: I got married a few months ago. While planning the wedding, my mom tried to steamroll over me and my wife's decisions and basically have her own wedding, because she married my deceased dad in a courthouse. We tried to tell her gently that she couldn't, but she went on a homophobic rant/tantrum in the middle of the restaurant we'd met at, tried to crash my wedding, in her wedding dress, and then tried to guilt me and my wife into feeling bad for not letting her in. So, I found out who told my mom where and when the wedding was. There was no grand plan, we'd wanted to do that after getting a little more settled into our new lives. I went back recently for work and invited one of my cousins out to lunch, picking somewhere my mom wouldn't go so there'd be no accidental run-ins. Me and this cousin are really close. We're similar in age, and she was one of the bridesmaids. She's like a sister to me. She's also the most timid/shy/non-confrontational person ever. Big red flag, I know. So we went out to lunch, and who showed up? My mother. She showed up and was all like, "Oh hi. I didn't know you were in town. Why didn't you call me? Lovely day we're having. Housewife's name, mother-in-law's name, father-in-law's name. Have you two started talking about kids yet?" She was being civil. I wish she'd screamed and cried so I could have looked like the sane one. My cousin wouldn't look at me. Not only did she tell my mom that we would be going out to lunch, but she also told my mom about the wedding. She told me that her mom, my aunt, and my mom pressured her into it, since they knew she'd know if the wedding was actually pushed back. And she told them. She told them despite knowing how crazy my mom is and how much crazier she's become. I'm not even angry, I just feel betrayed and so happy that my wife and I didn't tell anyone where we were moving so my mom couldn't show up at our door. I've had to cut off my cousin, the girl I saw as my sister, because she couldn't keep her effing mouth shut despite knowing, and I can't reiterate this enough, every detail about how my mom was when she was helping us plan the wedding. I'm cutting contact with my entire family. It's not worth it. If you let in a little crazy, they'll let in the rest of the crazy. Top/relevant comments. Commenter. Your mom knew your cousin was weak and walked all over her, sounds like a bully, plus the way she tries to bully you. Good thing you aren't letting her walk all over you too, I would cut her off too. Ops response. Before all this started, my mom and her mom would walk all over us both. Coming to Reddit helped me realize that my boundaries weren't actually boundaries, and my mom was continuing to walk all over me. I managed to grow a spine, she hasn't. I'm hoping that going no contact with her, like I am with the rest of my family, will make her realize she needs to stick up for herself.